Today, I'm super excited to have the chance to sit down with remotely David Murray, CEO of Buildxact. Hi, David. Welcome.
Hi, Nicole. Good to be with you.
So let's get right into it. If you could please tell us, what is Buildxact and what do you do?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. So Buildxact is a software company. We're a business that focuses on residential builders. So builders that do remodeling, custom home projects. And what we do is we help builders produce a quote, an estimate for their customer, help them win work. Once they've won that work, we also help the builder then manage the job, the scheduling, the purchase orders, the invoicing. So it's one easy, simple to use platform for a builder who is typically a mum and dad builder, which I know your parents are.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember being a kid and my dad bringing his estimates home. And that was always the thing that he was doing after dinner or on the weekend. So I love that you solved that problem for your customers. Are there any other pain points that really led you to start Buildxact?
But there's two very simple pain points that the company solves. The first is time, productivity. As you would have seen with your father, it takes a long time to produce a quote. When you've got the plan, you need to do a thing called a takeoff, which is get the measurements of the house that you're building, and produce your costings and how much timber do you need, etc. And then produce a quote for the customer. This typically for a new home takes about 30 hours. So that's an exhaustive amount of time. So with Buildxact, you can do that within 2 hours. So that's a massive productivity improvement. Secondly is helping the builder understand their cash flow and profitability. Quite often they underestimate, they forget to invoice the customer, and so they basically end up in a financial position which is stressful, and many of them actually end up out of business. So we give them the tools that help them manage that cash flow and improve their profitability.
Awesome. So we're talking about resiliency today. Can you tell us, what does resiliency mean to you?
So for me, resiliency is a critical part of both an individual and how they perform and operate, as well as how you convey that into leadership, and making sure that people see your resiliency, your conviction in your leadership style. I have had, fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, a number of things in my career that have given me the ability to build a lot of resiliency. Threats of job security, some personal challenges, and the thing that I think is important with resiliency is in giving people the opportunity to challenge themselves or be challenged and see that they can get through that. Actually gives them greater confidence to deal with the unknown and uncertainty that life presents you, obviously with what we're dealing with COVID-19. And for me as a leader, throughout my career, as I said, I've had a number of experiences which have put me under a lot of pressure, and having come out of those, not just survived, but thrived and ended up in a stronger position and succeeded, has meant for even during this unprecedented time of COVID-19, I've been able to work through that with some confidence and conviction that this can be either overcome or managed effectively. And so I think it's imperative, from whether it's a child getting not quite thrown in the deep end, but put on their bike, and I guess it's a bit challenging, but allows them to build that self-belief and confidence to deal with life's challenges as they come along.
I love that. And I'm picturing you as one of those dads who literally taught their kids to swim by throwing them in the deep end of the pool. Am I right on that? Or
not quite throwing them like that.
Okay.
That's a very good tip. Yes, I am known for throwing the kids unexpectedly into the pool. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. But I know the way you lead your team, and I know that you do give your team the opportunity to have a lot of autonomy, and I see the confidence growing in them. So that's so cool. What about, can you tell us, has Buildxact pivoted at all over the past few months through the crisis?
Yeah, excellent question, Nicole. Part of the challenge with what we're dealing with here is there's no precedent. And so there's no book you can go to, there's no personal experience that you can go to that allows you to say, well, this is what you do in this scenario. So for me, the first thing was to just take some sort of obvious actions, which were obviously people working from home. How do you ensure that you stay connected to the team in that environment? We're very fortunate. We've got a very high engagement with our team. And so we went into COVID with a very enthusiastic, engaged team. So the transition wasn't too bad. So then for me, it was, well, what's happening within the industry that we work in, construction? And what do our customers need? What are they going to need in the future in what I think is going to be a much more digitally enabled world for them? And this industry, as you would know, it's not very technically savvy. Technology is not hugely adopted by builders, suppliers, etc. So they've been dragged into having to do this. I had one customer say to me the other day that they implemented Teams, and they were really quite proud of that. And it's like, well, that's really rudimentary when you think about technology. So what we've done from a pivot perspective is we've really focused what the company is going to deliver from a product perspective over the next 3 months. And it's on two things. One is, how do we help the builder win more work? So within our software, they quote, so it's going to be a more competitive market. There's going to be less work. Mm-hmm. The bigger guys who do the volume builds, there's less of that because people aren't going to display homes. So they'll come down into the market. So us helping our customers win more work is going to be pivotal in a competitive market. So we effectively really accelerated some of the technology adoption, which we thought the industry would be a couple of years down the track from doing. But what COVID-19 has done is brought these pain points or these needs immediate, and therefore Buildxact's prioritizing its resource around that.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And speaking of the industry, what top tip do you have for others in your industry this year?
Yeah, Nicole, I think this lesson for me has been about not listening to opinion, not listening to perspectives that are not based on sound logic, based on experiences that have happened in the past, the global credit crunch of the GFC, 9/11, etc. You can't use many of those principles in what we're dealing with today. And so my top tip is not just for construction, I think it's across any industry, which is you need to look at the lead data. You need to look at the metrics of what's happening within your industry, what's happening within your business. So it's not what's happening with the revenue previously, that's a trailing indicator. It's what's happening ahead. So for us, a simple example of that is we have two. One is how many customers are actually looking for construction software, or how many people are looking for that. Is that increasing? Is it decreasing? Because if that decreases, obviously there's less customers that are potentially going to buy the software. If it increases, it means the market's going to grow. The second lead indicator for us is what's happening within the software from the quoting that the builders are doing.
My final question for you, what is the best HR or recruitment related innovation that you've seen in the last couple of years?
So Nicole, you guys have brought one of them to me, as you know. The traditional way of recruiting people, I think is going to completely die off. The way that you guys operate in a manner of we will provide the service for you of finding the right candidate, and we will get compensated for our effort in doing that, not compensated because we got the highest salary person and we therefore get a percentage of that. So what I like that innovation in that I'm paying actually for the effort that you put in, and it changes it from being I'm motivated to find the highest paid candidate to the right candidate for your customer, as in myself. So I really like that aspect. The other one that I think will become more and more prevalent, and I was talking to some of the team yesterday about this, is that we did our engagement survey pre-COVID-19 and we had a fantastic result, 88% engagement. It's just brilliant. We did one about 3 weeks ago and it was still very strong. But we just did some resourcing action at the beginning of this week, And I'm sure that's had an impact on the culture and people's engagement, as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
So these engagement surveys that happen, over sort of like, I do one at the 6-month mark, I'll do another one 6 months later. These don't actually reflect really the sentiment within the business on a daily basis. So I think that those sort of innovations that allow you to understand how your employees feeling, how they engage on a more frequent basis are good innovations that I think will become more prevalent in the industry.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your wonderful insights with us today. If anybody wants to get in touch with you or the team at Buildxact to learn more, how should they do that?
Well, I won't hand out my mobile phone because I don't want to be called in the middle of the night. So very simply, if you go to buildxact.com, there's 2 buttons in the top right-hand corner that will allow you to connect with Buildxact. You can either request a demo, book a trial, and these things will be captured by us, and we'll reach out to you, and happy to show you about our awesome software.
Awesome. Thanks so much, David.
Thank you, Nicole. Have a great day.